Welcome, Marlin sports fans, to another edition of Around the Rim. I'm your host, the Dudster, Nestor Dudley, and we are here with, this is like a homecoming, so to speak. Brand new blood and also homecoming. I'm here with the new coaches of the Sixers. Chris Callanan, Anthony Lopez.
My pleasure.
Gentlemen, welcome to Around the Rim.
My pleasure. Thank you.
For all you folks out there with damn good memory, a memory that lasts over a decade and a half, the last time we seen Chris Callanan, it was 15 years ago. He sat on this stage and he hoisted the championship jackets at that point of the Celtics.
Yes, we did. Yeah, 15 years ago, and I feel very old. And I think we got cheap jackets back then. But we got them. It feels good to be on the stage. And, you know, I remember it like it was yesterday. I remember, you know, telling the team, if we get to the playoffs, anything can happen. That's the madness. And, you know, at one point of the game, Cliff said, Chris, take over this game and, you know, get Chris the ball, whatever. And, you know, and I think I scored 24 points, the most I've ever scored in 3 years. You know, I wasn't a ball hound, is basically what I'm saying.
Unfortunately, Anthony and Chris, that we can never show highlights of that game because that entire weekend, nothing recorded. The two playoff games didn't record. The three-point shot contest didn't report. The hot shot contest did not record. The All-Star game and, of course, the Big Dance Championship game. Nothing recorded. I mean, nothing.
Too bad for him. You would have liked to see some highlights from that.
Absolutely. 29 years of everything else, and you didn't get mine, but that's all right.
Well, you know, we set the cameras. Somebody pressed record. It wasn't me. Somebody pressed record or somebody said they pressed record.
Chris Charisma, probably.
Anthony, you did not come through the Marlin Neighborhood Basketball League, but you play Pope John, correct? Pope John basketball instead.
I did play in the Al-Lock League. I'm not sure if we just called it Church League at the time. It was actually played right around the corner here at the actual church.
Yeah, back
then.
then.
With the concrete floor.
Yeah. Yeah, it was known as the Al-Lock League. Still known as the Al-Lock League, but I shortened it to the ALBL. So did you play Al-Lock?
Of course I did.
Did you guys play against each other?
Of course we did. His coach was Ken Mazonson, the commissioner of the MNBL, and we did beat them in the championship game.
They did, unfortunately.
Well, the name of the teams?
Bullets for us.
Pistons. And we also played on, we grew up together ever since we were youngins, lived across the street, and we also played baseball together. We played for the Aztecs, and we won a City Series there. We actually played against Day One Steve Wright,
Oh, okay.
who coached the Flames.
All right.
And we beat them my 14-year-old year, and then I think he beat Anthony the next 2 years after I moved on.
Hey, 3 City Series in a row. You can't. We took one, but we would have liked to have taken at least one more, maybe 2.
You know, you can't sneeze at that. So you guys have a history of just winning championships in different sports.
Yeah, safe to say. I think we won at every level. Now my goal is to win it in my brother passed away from cancer 3 years ago.
Sorry to hear that. Sorry to hear that.
And we play in a moderate league in Malden. The name is PCal's Pals in his name. And we made it to the semis all 3 years. So now if we win it, if I win that, I can say I won it at every level of sport that I played in.
As a player.
Correct.
As a player. But you want to get that right. Now, things have changed in 15 years. No longer do you get jackets in the MNBL. It's all about the bling. You get rings. You get ready. You got that pinky finger ready.
Yeah.
And you had mentioned Cliff, as in Cliff Williams. Back in 2000, Cliff Williams and Gary Rogers was the coach of the Celtics. And I said Cliff Williams was the head coach. Bradwood Benton says that Gary Rogers was the head coach. So who was the head coach?
Cliff was, and then some suspensions, but, you know, Cliff was more soft-spoken, but Bubba ran our butts off. He, you know, he really pushed us, and, you know, but they both were great, and, you know, they were awesome. And as far as me being the head coach, you know, Kenny called me, how this all worked out.
I was just going to ask you, how did you guys decide to come and give back? I know you didn't play in the MNBL, but you certainly played in the Al-Lock League, which we use that as a feeder program. So how did you guys come to
Kenny Mazonson called me up, asked me. I said, well, my work schedule, I don't know. I'll have to check with my bosses. I guess he called Anthony up because he knew he wanted to play in the MMBL, and he knew we grew up together. Needless to say, we said yes. I had to take the head coach role. No one wanted to take it. If that's what it had to take for me to take it, you know, to take the position, to do it, then to do it. Then I was willing to do that, you know. But I basically look at Tony Saldano, who's watching this right now, who's homesick. That's why he's not here. You know, they're the assistants. I'm the head coach, but in all reality,
And you also have
you
also have Sean Hickey, who decided to stay in the family.
Correct, absolutely. And our thing is when we, you know, together. You know, every time, you know. So basically, the coaches are together and the team's together.
What are the differences? And I know you hear the wet music, but Waldo isn't here to do the lights. So what are the differences, the major differences? I know this might be hard for you to answer, but what are the major differences from when you played 15 years ago to today? And it might not be that hard for you to answer because you guys are the same age. So you had an attitude and a mentality as a player. Do these young athletes share the same mentality and passion that you guys had 15 years ago?
Unfortunately, I'm going to have to be brutally honest. No, a lot of them, you know, some of them do. A lot of them do, but a lot of them not so much. They don't have seems like they don't have the drive and whatnot, but a lot, you know, like some of them do, some of them don't, you know. But I don't think they is glued in as much as we were years ago. Yeah. Because they're more into the video games and all this stuff and all that.
Anthony, as a coach, how do you try to get through to players like that? Or I should say to this generation.
You know, this is my first time ever coaching, so it's a new experience, so we're learning every day. But thing is, you just got to realize that, you know, we can't get in there. Like the first game, I wanted to get in there so bad. I'm like, you know, that we weren't rebounding. I'm seeing myself, thinking I could have put up 20-20 game easily. And, you know, just being able to give them, you know, encouragement and not get too frustrated that, you know, we're coaching and not players anymore.
Okay, now Waldo is here, and gentlemen, you are caught up in the MNBL web. And what the MNBL web is that I have a lot amount of time to ask my guests any questions I want, and it may or may not have to do with the Malden Neighborhood Basketball League. But we're going to keep it Malden Neighborhood Basketball League. Gentlemen, I was privileged enough to go to a recent meeting of the of the MNBL, and we had a supplemental draft this year. Hashtag Lottery 2015, and the particulars of what happens to the players in the draft, the teams they're on, and their futures next season was something that might not have been clearly identified in the beginning, but you specifically, Chris. We're going to keep the language clean, but you wasn't pleased with the stuff that you heard.
Absolutely not, because it wasn't up front, and if I knew the rule first, I probably wouldn't have went with it, because we ended up getting a sophomore, another team got a sophomore, and one other team got a senior, and everyone else didn't get anyone. So now we traded away Chuck Taylor to get another first pick, so that means we have 2 first picks for next year. Because of Cliff Williams, we don't have a second round next year, and the following year we don't have a third round because he was chasing a championship last year.
He certainly mortgaged the future.
Yeah. So he kind of, some teams had picked 2 players before we picked 1, or the Hawks, I think, picked 3 before we picked 1. So it kind of hurt us a lot, and, you know, I just think it's a little unfair seeing the situation if we have to burn that first round pick for who we call Rondo, because it looks like Rondo, but Javier Regis. So hopefully maybe the coaches are loyal in the draft next year, and maybe no one will stick it to us, and maybe Kenny will have a heart and maybe reconsider.
You guys have known Kenny for years. Have you ever known Kenny, Anthony, to reconsider?
He seems pretty solid on wanting to go his way on this. We gave it a good fight, but we won't give up.
The older he gets, the tougher he gets. I was actually at a friend of mine, Johnny Johnson's kid's game, And I seen Kenny Mazonson throw a kid off the bench, and I played for Kenny, playing Legion baseball, and he was never like that.
Well, I certainly guess that you're fortunate that he
But I
never,
love you, Ken.
that he never threw you off the bench. Gentlemen, you are out of the web.
All right.
Back in the studios of Marlin Access Television, I'm your host, the Nestor Dudley, along with Chris Callanan, Anthony Lopez, Tony Soldano, and Sean Hickey, unable to join us this evening. You brought up Chuck Taylor. Chuck Taylor was putting up points for you.
Yes.
What was the thinking about the Chuck Taylor trade? I mean, unfortunately, the Sixers did not get off to the best of starts. The Sixers right now, what, 3-6?
Correct.
3-6, yeah, but certainly not out of madness contention.
3 out of the last 4 we got W's.
Yeah.
We're going on a little run trying to pull it out the last playoffs about if possible.
And you can certainly make the playoffs in this league with an 8-6 record.
Yeah. Well, we took the Hawks to overtime. We took the Celtics to overtime, who just clinched playoff spots, as you know. And
The Kings, we had a 4-point lead.
we had a
with like
4-point
minute and a half.
lead. Yeah. You know, there's a few games that we blew that, you know, a couple bunnies got blown, but, you know, not one play loses the game.
Right.
And, you know, so our thing is we're trying to work a little more, you know, on, because we're small, you know, so we want to, we don't want to give away our stuff, but we need to.
Well, you
stop,
had a
we
big-
need to stop pressing a lot.
Well, you had a big.
Want to run.
Well, you had a big guy in the middle, and you traded him away.
We needed that. We needed to because we were 1-6 at the time, so we needed to give. We felt like Chuck was kind of, you know, in the locker room wanting to fight some players and this and that, you know.
Well, that's definitely showing passion for the game, right?
True,
I mean,
absolutely. And he didn't want to lose. He wanted to go on a winning team. So I said, you know what, guys? The Kings were offering us a second round, and we held out to the last second. And then J-Rock came at me with a first-round pick, and we took it.
right,
So I'm glad that Tony held on that.
right.
Held out to the last second. So, and we figured, from the coach's point of view, we're looking at next year. We got some good players coming back, you know, and some like someone like TJ.
TJ
I think
Ely.
took five charges. The minute we told him to take a charge in a game, he took a charge. I'd take 10 TJs on my team. So he's getting a lot better. You know, a lot of the kids are getting a lot better, and I wish I could start the season over and get those W's back, but that ain't happening.
I think there are a couple of other coaches that wish that they could start the
Yeah,
season
I'm
over,
sure, I'm
and there's
sure.
probably a couple of coaches out there that wish that the season never started. So we talk about the winning streak. So would you say that your team have gotten better since you got rid of Chuck? I mean, you know, you won 3 out of 4, 2 out of 3, 2 out of the last 3.
3 out of 4, I think the last 3 out of 4.
3 out of 4, yeah. So I mean, you know, without Chuck, you're a different type of team.
Well, we had one win with Chuck. We are definitely a different team. Chuck was averaging, I think, 14, 15 points a game. So basically, we just did it from a coach's point of view, and we looked at it like, if we're gonna, you know, let's get the pick. If we can make a run, we're definitely not giving up,
Right.
you know. And if we can make a run on it, and if the Kings can fall apart, then we could steal the 4 seed, and it's doable. You
Well,
know?
it certainly is doable because the Kings are on a 3-game slide.
And the Kings did it last year I think they were 2-5, whatever, and they went on a run, and they ended up going to the championship game.
They made a trade, and that one trade at the trading deadline, they went 6-1 for the rest of the season, and like you said, they made it to the big dance.
Correct.
They made it to the big dance.
Just to add to that, I mean, like, we basically switched our whole game plan up. We were more inside oriented with Chuck, and, you know, once we want to go more to pressing, running the floor, you know, getting the bigs. Teams like the Sonics have a lot of big guys on there. We just tell them we got to keep running, try to get these guys, you know, winded.
We got to get turnovers.
Right.
Turnovers, because we are very outsized with a lot of teams.
Right.
You know,
Right.
so that's basically the gist of us. I mean, our biggest guys, Nas, we call him Nas, Isaiah. I still don't even know his name.
I
But-
believe.
Isaiah
correct
Turner.
And, you know,
pronunciation.
speaking of him, I had to, you know, Tony was saying we didn't have the respect of the players, and they don't even know our names. I walked into practice, probably the 4th or 5th. So I walked up to every player and said, "What's my name?" 2 of them got it wrong. I said, "Run a suicide." "You serious?" "Absolutely." One of them called me Sean. The other one said, "I don't know." I said, "Stop running suicides right now." Yeah. I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" So that was it, you know, and you know, we're new. So, I mean, we were meeting up weekly in the beginning and going over things and learning and all that stuff. And a lot of it started coming back because, you know, we played the game.
Absolutely.
You know.
And you guys played the game on a high level,
Yeah.
on a very high level.
Yeah.
And you won on high levels.
Yes. So, I mean, you're not going to get studs on all the, you know, on 10 studs on a team. You know, so.
You got to have role players.
Yes, we do, and we do. You know, some guys know, but a lot of guys that they want to get more playing time, but you gotta
Somebody got to
produce.
come off that
You gotta
bench.
Produce, yeah.
Somebody got to come off that bench. And that's a good segue. No go ref go tonight. He took himself a vacation. I wish I could have a vacation. But Big Game James in the control room holding it down. So is that and I see Jazzy Josie's on my camera that kicked off Waldo. So whenever we're ready, we can go into the Rollins. This past week's game, February 14th, we only had 3 games because we snowed out against Sunday. First game, that Saturday, Bullets, Sonics, and the Sonics continue their winning ways, beating the Bullets by 30, 57-27. Jesse Boulay led the Bullets with 8 points, and Nick Scoville et al. Scores 18 points. As the Sonics improved to 2-7, the Bullets dropped to 0-9, still on the schneid. Second game, Hawks, Pistons. Hawks 70, Pistons 50. George Kenny led the Pistons with 14 points, and Joseph Tefera et al. Scores with 21 points as the Pistons dropped to 1-7, and the Hawks' 9-game win streak improved to 9-1. Third and final game of this past weekend, Celtics Kings, and it was overtime. 2 points better, the Celtics were over the Kings, 62-60. Adam Aiden, high man for the Celtics with 17 points, and Marco Cicada led all scores with 22 points as the Celtics improved to 8-2, and the Kings still on the slide, 6-3. And that's how everything went down at this past weekend's play. And now it's time for the weekly Around the Rim Awards. So let's kick it! Player of the Week, Joseph Tefera of the Hawks. Coach of the Week, Mighty Joe Young of the Celtics. Team of the Week, Celtics jumping over a couple of slots, and they are in second place and clinched Madness berth. And Woo of the Week goes to Jesse Buckets Boulay, a model of consistency in the Mall Neighborhood Basketball League. This first-year sophomore, Jesse Boulay, this woo is for you. Woo! And now on to, wait a minute. You played in this league 3 years. Did you ever get the coveted Woo of the Week?
I never got any awards.
You never got any what?
You want to know why? Kids, listen. Do not get technicals. Do not be cocky. Do not be arrogant. Because I was arrogant, cocky, and I never
got
any
technicals.
awards. The only reason I was on this show 15 years ago is because we won a championship. The only reason I got MVP of the playoffs is because I probably scored the most points and we won the game. So try to keep it clean and listen to your coaches.
Keep it clean. That's the philosophy of Bradworth Benton. So I like that. So let's go to the standings. Shout-outs. We're going to get to the shout-outs later. We got the Hawks on top of the land with 9-1, and the Bullets bring up the rear, stone the schneid, 0-9. Okay, and now on to the Dirty Dozen. We sell. Well, nope. You're right. Next week's games. First game Sunday, Sonics Pistons. Second game, Lakers Kings. And the third game, Celtics Hawks. And in that third game is this hashtag Big Dance preview. Sunday's game. First game, Sonics Kings. Second game, Sixers Bullets. Third game, Lakers Pistons. And in that third game is the hashtag first matchup this season. Now, I believe onto the Dirty Dozen. These are the Dirty Dozens, and we like to have fun with it. We like to celebrate the players in the league that do work on defensive end on the ball. Sprague leading the league, DeRocha bringing up the rear, and that's your Dirty Dozen this week.
And 2 of them are ours.
That's all right. And you hear that, gentlemen? It's February. Black history. I'm going to a Black history moment. So it's time for us now to drop some knowledge. This week is Black history is Bayard Rustin, 1912 to 1987, an unyielding activist for civil rights, dignity, and equality for all. An advisor to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Rustin promoted nonviolent resistance, participated in one of the first freedom rides, organized the 1963 March on Washington, D.C. for jobs and freedom, and fought tirelessly for marginalized communities at home and abroad. As an openly gay African American, Bayard Rustin stood at the intersection of several of the fights for equal rights. President Barack Obama posthumously awarded Bayard Rustin the Presidential Medal of Freedom. So that was your Black history moment, dropping the knowledge, Bayard Rustin. So gentlemen, we have plenty of time left. We have just under 8 minutes. I see your phone's blowing up.
Yeah.
If those Malden people
Yeah.
tuning in.
Give it back to the city, they're saying.
Whoever's calling, you want to join the conversation, hashtag ATR. I don't have my wireless connection tonight, but I do have my cell phone. I'm checking hashtag ATR, and you can join into the conversation. Who did I say tweeted earlier?
My cousin, the godfather of my beautiful daughter, Michaela, I know you're watching. Daddy loves you. That's who that was.
Okay. And how old's your beautiful daughter?
She is a little over three years.
That's hashtag splendid. You have any children?
I do not. I have three. I have two nieces and a nephew. They keep me busy enough for now.
There you go. There you go. And it's certainly cheaper on your wallet than when you have to.
Definitely.
Yeah, yeah. I feel you're saying, you just got to take care of those offsprings. I have a question for you, gentlemen. When you came into this league this season and you realized that you didn't have the 2 first-round draft picks, the first 2 round draft picks, and again, this is your first time coaching. Is this your first time coaching on any level?
Yes.
Yes.
Your first time coaching on any level. You certainly know about the draft and the trials because you've gone through that.
Right.
But what do you look for when you know you don't have your first 2 round picks in a league that you're new to, in a league that you've been away from 15 years?
Yeah.
You go ahead.
I mean, first and foremost, we wanted to stay young, try to move towards the future. So we looked at sophomores a little higher than, say, some seniors.
Mm-hmm.
So we picked, who did we get first? We got
Nas.
Nas first.
Stole TJ.
TJ was a steal, even though he was a junior. I mean, he was diving around in the tryouts. That stuck out to me right away.
You got to have that hustle.
Toughness, aggressive. I mean, obviously we're looking for ball handling and talent, but like he just said, youth. We really weren't looking for the seniors because we knew, that a lot of teams we knew we didn't have a pick till the 17th pick.
Yeah. Right.
And the Hawks basically cleaned up and. First, I said
the Hawks went through the pains last year.
Yeah, I know.
So the Hawks earned
absolutely.
cleaning up.
And I actually said in the beginning, I said the Hawks, the Celtics, but now I'm going to change that, and I think it's going to be the Hawks and the Sonics in the championship, unless we get there and steal it.
Uh-huh. And that's certainly possible because, again, the Kings are on a 3-game slide. Anything's possible. 8-6 can get into the playoffs. Yeah. Once in a blue moon, 7-7 gets you in the playoffs.
Yeah, well, we got to go through the Celtics, who beat us in overtime. We got to go through the Sonics, who have grown men size.
Yeah.
We got the Bullets again, the Pistons.
Speaking about the Bullets, you have the Bullets this Sunday. You guys are off Saturday, and you got the Bullets Sunday. So provided that we don't get snowed out.
Oh, yeah. Feels like we haven't played in a month.
Right.
Even practice. Canceled again tonight.
Right. And there was some controversy about that because I'm privy to the emails
Those
about
emails were bothering me all day long. But it was a little entertaining.
Yeah, I mean,
put an end to
with
it.
the schedule, we got a tough schedule at first. We faced some of the better teams twice already before we even faced other teams.
And that has been happening in the past couple of seasons where, it's a 14-game schedule and you play every team twice. So, when you play a team twice before you play a team once, how fair is that? And also when that team is better than your team. Really, how fair is that? Somebody needs to be a proofreader on that schedule.
Well,
go ahead, say it. Keep the language clean.
no,
say it.
absolutely it does. But to be honest, I did ask Kenny for more Sunday games than Saturdays because of work and whatnot, and I wish I didn't because I would have rather seen the Hawks and the Kings in the second half. I know they got better too. But even like Bernacco said, I'm glad we're done with you guys because you guys are gonna end up being a spoiler for somebody. You know, because the way, like when someone asks me, "Hey, how's your team?" and I describe us as scrappy, tough-nosed kids, and you know, and we just try to get them into it, and we dress up, we practice with them, we bump with them.
Oh, you do?
Absolutely.
Now, aren't you guys a little bit past your
I
playing
can't wait
prime?
for that. No, I can't wait
we
for that
feel it.
coaches all-star,
You
coaches
definitely
versus all-star
feel it the
game.
next day, though. You feel it. Yeah, I mean, now that we have 9, so there's always got to be, if we want to do a full court, you need one of us to jump in. Unfortunately, when people were missing practices, we were all in there getting beat up just as much as the players.
But you know, but that's good. As you mentioned, the All-Star game will be coming up where the coaches. So will all the coaches be playing in the
I
All-Star
know,
game?
I'll be there.
I'd
I
like
can't
to.
wait.
Yeah, I'll be there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, there was-
when I'm coaching, I want to jump in the game.
Yeah, but you already used your 3 years eligibility.
Yeah,
haven't
I'm
you?
done. He's got 3
I
left.
got 3 left. I played the neighborhood, and then I went right to. I mean, I went to a smaller school, so I could play varsity right off the bat.
Unfortunately, you're not in the 10th, 11th, or 12th grade.
Yeah. I know. Would have been fun though. I get frustrated sometimes watching. I wish I was still out there.
Malden Baller, hey, hashtag ATR, Mr. Dudley. Rondo here. I just want to say shout out to Coach. We're getting this dub Sunday already. Hey, we're
that's what we like to
getting
see.
this dub Sunday.
Attaboy,
We're getting this
Rondo.
dub Sunday. Go on, Rondo. Anybody else want to join into the conversation?
Where's
Hashtag
Johnny Johnson?
He was
ATR.
calling me on the
Actually,
phone.
Actually, we don't even have much time at all. We're down to the last 90 ticks of this show.
Oh, man,
This
that
is-
flew by. We
this
got
is
to make this an hour show.
Well, you know, it's kind of hard to maintain an hour show week after week because not all guests are as comfortable in front of the camera as used to.
I'm loving this.
Me too.
I'm having
Hey,
a
I've been
blast.
a fan of the show for years. I've been watching you since I was back in high school.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate
Hey,
it.
and you know what he said before the season started? He wants a woo of the week, just to let you know.
Well, you know, you got
Yeah,
it.
I mean, CCal got the coaches one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got the woo or the coach?
I got
both?
the coach.
You
No,
got
the
the-
players get the
Oh,
woo.
Chuck got the woo.
Yeah.
and-
Well, anybody can get the woo.
Yeah.
Anybody can get the woo. It could be
Oh,
a coach.
okay.
It could be a
Okay.
player. It could be somebody that shoveled out my driveway. I might give that person a woo. Anybody,
Yeah.
anybody can get the woo.
But without Tony, without Sean, without Anthony, I could never do this alone. Never, ever in a million years. You know, especially with work, because luckily work lets me leave, and you know, and then I got to go back to work. So I got the little state job, so I got a lot of.
I hear
we're
you.
spoiled.
I hear you.
I've been on the list for the city for years, but maybe I'll get in. Who knows? I don't know.
Well, I'm getting a wrap-up cue, so gentlemen, Chris
Thank you very
Callahan,
much.
Anthony
Thank you.
Lopez,
Thank
thank you
you.
for coming on the show. And until next time, I want to say buenas noches, hooches cooches. I came in peace. I leave with love. This is for the red, the black, and the green, and I'll be seeing you at the games.
Together.
Sixers.